What's up, everybody? We're back again for another episode of WCW Monday Nitro. This might be a longer one because I'm probably going to do Sold Out as well. So after the end of the Nitro, I'll cut and come back to Sold Out for the pay-per-view on Sunday. But yeah, let's get the show started. In a terrible pre-show match, the Mamalukes defeated Los Villanos in 727 when Johnny the Bull pinned Villano 4 with a forget about it. Villanos were in the 30s. The Mamalukes were in the 20s. Yeah, they're going to have to stick to the pre-show for a while. And an extremely short pre-show match. Dustin Rhodes defeats the Maestro. Just wanted to get Dustin a win here and potentially get him going before I bring him back on the TV. And then in a decent pre-show brawl, Vampiro defeated Finlay with a nail in the coffin. This was to get Vampiro a win under his belt. I'm slowly got things cooking in my mind with Vampiro. I know what I want to do with him. I know what type of push I want to give him. He had a 68, so that's very good. The match got a 62. Finlay needs to be booked a little smarter in these shorter matches. The matches went 10 minutes. Finlay should be able to work a 10-minute match. And then we open the show with a 91. Holy shit. Alright. How do I... Aha. So this is how you do it. You double click. Alright. So, Nitro opens. Nash speaks first. He says there seems to be some concerns about the state of the NWO now that Bret Hart has not only given WCW their World Championship back, but they've decided a little 8-man tournament is the right move to decide a new champion. Only one problem with that. Not a single one of us are in it. That I have a problem with. You know what else I have a problem with is people within this organization thinking that some of us are not carrying our weight around here. And then you could see Jarrett's face would give that "you talking about me" expression. It seems that everyone has forgotten just who the hell started this damn revolution in the first place. You're looking at them right here. Me and this man right here, Scott Hall. We started this Black and White Express. We've carried out our weight in this deal. But what about you two, Steiner, Jarrett? Can the same be said about you? And Jarrett takes the mic from Nash. Now just wait one damn minute. Where do you get off saying I haven't carried my weight in this deal? I'm the United States champion. I'm the one in this group with championship gold around our waist. The fact of the matter is, if anyone should be leading this charge in this ordeal, it should be the chosen one. Not you, Hall, not you, Nash, and damn sure not that muscled up gorilla standing right there. Steiner removes his sunglasses, and if you can read his lips, he's cussing up Jarrett. And then Hall grabs the mic and says, "Hey, yo, I don't know why you think you should be leading anything, Jarrett, when you've been a little puppy dog riding everyone's coattails everywhere you went. The way I see it, you should be thanking me and Kev for keeping you relevant. Everybody here knows that if you wasn't pals with the powers that be, that you wouldn't be the United States champion, and you sure as hell wouldn't be standing in this ring, in this position you are now. So do me and Kev a favor and go down there." "Down where, you ask?" "Down there!" And he and Kev do the DX crotch chop. Jarrett tosses sunglasses down and gets pissed before Ric Flair's music hits. And Flair's like, "Look at you clowns, standing in that ring like a bunch of whiny bitches. Yeah, I said it. You four look like complete idiots. It's the year 2000. This is WCW, not a soap opera. You want a whining bitch? Go up north. Let me remind you all of something. I am the boss. I am the president of WCW, And what I say goes here in WCW. And Scott Steiner, big man. There's more to this, but it didn't load in here. But he's basically saying, you and Nash, you're in this WCW Tag Title Tournament. Not anymore. Steiner, you're out. Hall, you're in. That's right. Hall's in. Steiner, you're out. Another thing. Jeff Jarrett, I'm looking at you, little man. You walk around here with that United States Championship. Well, tonight you're going to defend it again. Because tonight you defended against Diamond Dallas Page. And then on Sunday, you defended against recently re-signed Eddie Guerrero. That's right, pal. I'm in charge. You're not. And then he turns and looks at Steiner. He says, Steiner, you want in the WCW title tournament? That's fine. Tonight, you go one-on-one with Chris Benoit. And then Sunday, you're in the tournament where you go one-on-one with Booker T in the first round. Now, that being said, I've got a show to run, so I need you two to get the hell out of my ring. Hall and Nash, don't worry, I got plans for you tonight too, so you can get the hell out too. And that got a 91. That is awesome. And in our opening contest of Nitro, Parker defeated Lord Steven Regal. Regal got a 44. Parker got a 39. I had Laparca not only dominate Steven Regal, but Regal to be buried because Regal signed with the WWF. So he is leaving. Now we get a promo from the franchise as they make their way to the ring. Franchise says, listen up, you bunch of lowlifes. Tonight, the Revolution takes out the Filthy Animals. And then Sunday, I go on and take out Eddie Guerrero and become one step closer to becoming the World Heavyweight Champion. Filthy Animals, Ray, Kidman, tonight. Malenko and Saturn are going to stretch you like a couple of Flex Armstrongs. Sunday, Eddie Guerrero, I'm going to remind the world why I'm the franchise of professional wrestling. The Revolution are taking over this company, and the Filthy Animals are just the first domino to fall. Sunday night, sold out. Eddie Guerrero, you get your ass franchised. Got a 58. And the tag match between the Filthy Animals of Ray and Kidman and the Revolution got a 68. Dean Malenko had a 69. Ray Jr. had a 68. It gained heat, got the crowd hotter. The crowd was white hot. I like it. I like it. We get a horrible, horrible backstage segment with Buff and Canyon, where Canyon's basically trying to get Buff to spill the beans about Kimberly. But Buff says, Canyon, stop. Nothing happened with me and Kim. Nothing ever will happen with me and Kimberly. And I've got to get DDP to realize that I never touched his wife. I'm so sick of being accused of sleeping with Kimberly. It was one photograph in the lobby of a hotel trying to check in separately that was taken out of context. Nothing more. Now, do you mind? I'd like to focus on the tournaments I'm involved in. We got the tag title tournament match tonight. And then Sunday I face Paige in the world title tournament. I need focus because this is a year of Buff the Stuff, and I'm going to prove I'm the big star that I know I am. And in a wild brawl that had good heat and decent wrestling, Rick Steiner and Mike Rotunda defeated Chris Kanyon and Buff Bagwell when Steiner pinned Kanyon with a Steiner driver. And then we had DDP run in and attack Canyon, and then he chased off Buff. Buff had a 73, Canyon had a 34. Bagwell was off his game. The flow of the match was hurt because Canyon was hardly involved. We get a backstage interview with Luger and Mean Gene. Gene says, total package this Sunday at Sold Out. You're one of 8 men in the WCW World Championship Tournament, but I think you got bigger things to worry about in the terms of Sting. And the package is like, let me stop you right there, Gene. Sting is not of any concern of mine. I took Sting out at Starrcade. He is history. He is finished. There is no more Sting here in WCW, and you ask me about Sting one more time, I'll make sure there's no more of you either. Come on, Liz. And as Package and Liz walk away, the camera pans out in the distance, and you see Sting in the shadows with just a smirk on his face. And Package and Liz have no idea that Sting is very much around here in WCW. In an extremely short match, the Outsiders defeat Crowbar and David Flair. They just made quick work of David and Crowbar and advanced in the title tournament. I mean, there was just no way I was having Crowbar and David Flair beat the Outsiders. I do not need them pissed off at me. They do good promos. They do good ratings. The only reason this match was short was because I'm teasing babyface turns, and David and Crowbar are just not that good in the ring. Then we get a backstage promo from DDP with Mean Gene. He says, Diamond Dallas Page, tonight you take on Jeff Jarrett for the United States title on Sunday. You are one of 8 men in the world title tourney. You take on a man who you accuse of trying to sleep with Kimberly based off a photograph of Buff and Kimberly checking in a hotel at the same time. That could just be coincidence by all means. And the DDP's like, you calling my wife a liar, Gene? And Gene says, I would never do such a thing, but to assume something happened in that hotel based off a photograph and the word of a woman is a stretch, don't you think? And DDP's like, look, I've given Buff plenty of chances to come forward and tell the truth. He wants to keep denying what my eyes showing me to be true. He needs a lesson in respect, that you don't mess with other people's wives. He wants the World Heavyweight Championship. He's got to go through me to do it. And honestly, Gene, I'm going to rip his head off. Kimberly told me the vile, despicable things he did to her in that hotel room. It makes me sick. Bagwell, Sunday night, I'm going to kill you. And then I'm going to become World Heavyweight Champion again. Now, if you excuse me, Gene, I got to go kick Jeff Jarrett's ass. And then a match that had a 66 rating. Fantastic heat and great wrestling. Jeff Jarrett defeated DDP with the stroke after Buff. There's an altercation at ringside between Buff and Kim, where Buff was trying to tell Kim to tell DDP to tell the truth. This distracted DDP long enough where Jeff Jarrett was able to hit him with the stroke and retain the United States Championship. Then we get a very quick segment with Scott Steiner. He makes his entrance and he just tells everybody shut the F up. Ric Flair, you old ass piece of shit. You can talk to everyone else the way you talked to the NWO earlier, but you won't talk to me like that anymore. I'll break your jaw in so many ways you'll be filing for a divorce from your teeth. You're old and you're a bitch. Ric Flair, fuck you. Benoit, get your ass out here so I break your little midget ass in half. And then a 64 main event, Benoit defeated Scott Steiner when Steiner got disqualified when Jeff Jarrett ran in and attacked Benoit. And then the ending shot of Nitro is a big old brawl. Has Flair, Bagwell, DDP, Hall, Nash, Booker, total package, Steiner, Benoit, Douglas, and Guerrero all hit the ring. They're all brawling. And then the final sequence, Jarrett's setting up Flair for a guitar shot. Flair ducks. Guitar hits Nash. Nash goes down. Eddie takes out Hall and Douglas with a clothesline. Flair fights off Jarrett before sending him to the floor. Steiner goes after Flair, and then before Benoit gets a hold of Steiner, Nash gets up and chases off Steiner. Hall follows them, and then the final shot is Benoit standing alone by himself in the ring. And the announcers just hype up Sold Out and the fact that Benoit could be standing as the World Heavyweight Champion. The show got a 70. Very nice, very nice. I love this. We got a 70, which I think last week we got like a 65. Let's look at financials. We made $655,000 from the broadcast revenue. That is awesome. Let's look at our pop. We increased in Mexico, Europe, parts of Canada. And now as this loads, I want to show some things that I went ahead and did off camera, off screen. Not the TEW9 is not responding. Wait for it to respond. I want to show some stuff that I did off screen. I went ahead and signed a lot of guys, and then I created a developmental territory for WCW, so we could start developing the stars of the future. So we're not like real life and being almost into 2001 trying to create new stars. So when this loads, I want to show you what we did. And WWF increased in size. What did Monday Night Raw do? They got an 83 with a 699 rating with 5.2 million viewers. They got a 5.17 US TV rating and did a 3,880,000 US viewers. And Mankind and Kurt Angle was the main event. Then let's look at Nitro. We got a 4.77 with 3.5 million in total viewers. On TNT, we got 3.72 with 2.7 million. Shane Douglas, we re-signed Shane Douglas. Incident with Kurt Hennig. Kurt, I'm gonna send you to rehab, buddy. Contract negotiations. Let's see. Bobby Duncombe. ECW made an offer to Dusty Rhodes. We outbid the WWF. Scott Hall's causing rifts against Ric Flair. People are asking time to heal. And Nitro's total viewers. Alright, and now, like I said, I went ahead and created a developmental. I brought back Florida Championship Wrestling. Jerry Jarrett and Mike Graham are running it. And we got in developmental, it's pretty much just TNA with some other people. We got Abyss, AJ, the Naturals, Bobby Eaton's a road agent. Bobby Duncombe's there just to have some talent. We got Bobby Roode, Brian Kendrick, Brian Danielson, Punk, Harris, Dave Taylor's there. Kaz, Homicide, Luther Reigns, Horace Hogan, JB, John Cena, Ken Anderson. Just guys that we want to have for the future down the road. And then, like I said, we successfully, if I go to contracts here, we successfully re-signed Shane Douglas, Dean Malenko, Eddie Guerrero. We've signed the Road Warriors. We signed Steamboat to be a road agent, and we re-signed Benoit. So we re-signed everybody but Lord Steven Ringle. He's the only one leaving, so he's the only one getting buried and pushed out the door. But that was Monday Nitro, and I will be back with Sold Out. Welcome back, guys. We are back with Sold Out from the Pepsi Center in Chicago, Illinois. So let's get the show on the road. In a 66 rated pre-show battle royal, Vampiro wins the battle royal to become the WCW World Television Champion. This was to get Vampiro the World TV title, but also couldn't put this on the main card because there's just so much going on. So I put it on the pre-show. So the pre-show airs on WCWWrestling.com. So if you tuned into that, you got to see Vampiro win the TV title, and it got a 66, which ain't bad for a 20-man battle royal. And then the opening of the pay-per-view is just a video package highlighting the matches getting ready to go down tonight. And then we go straight into Shane Douglas. He makes his entrance to the quarterfinals of the tourney. He basically just says, "Welcome to the Revolution, Chicago. Tonight starts TakeOver, and Eddie Guerrero, come out and get your ass franchised." And in a 74 rated match, what a match! What a show opener for the pay-per-view. Eddie with an 80, and about to have fantastic heat and good wrestling. Shane Douglas defeated Eddie Guerrero with a Pittsburgh plunge after Asia interfered. So Shane Douglas advances to the semis of the world title tournament. Eddie is still going on to face Jeff Jarrett for the United States title later tonight. And then we get a video package hyping up the Sting Luger dynamic. And then we get a match graphic of Lex Luger versus Chris Benoit. And in a 79, holy crapola. Benoit with an 81, Luger with a 79. They have great chemistry, and it showed. Oh my lord. In an exceptional match, Benoit defeated the total package after Luger got counted out when Sting didn't attack, but Sting appeared. Sting returned officially, and Luger freaked out and ran away and got counted out. And this match is part of the tag title tournament. I didn't expect it to go well, but the Filthy Animals, Ray and Kidman, they had to replace the Harris boys because Don Harris got hurt, defeated Mike Rotunda and Rick Steiner. So Ray and Kidman advanced to the finals. We have a Harlem Heat history of Harlem Heat video package. And then in the semifinals, we have the Outsiders versus Harlem Heat on Nitro. You know, Flair took Steiner out through Hall In. And then Harlem Heat had to replace Asia and Norman Smiley because the intergender thing doesn't work. And therefore, we had the Outsiders and Harlem Heat. This was like Harlem Heat wanting one more shot to win the gold. And, in 10:27, Nash beat Stevie Ray with a jackknife after Booker T accidentally kicked him with the Harlem sidekick because he was aiming for Hall. Hall ducked. No, Nash, my bad. Nash ducked. He nailed Stevie. Hall took out Booker T. Nash jackknifed 1, 2, 3, and he got a 69. Scott Hall got an 80. Booker got an 83. Nash with a 78. We got a 2-minute video of the rivalry with Bagwell and DDP over Kimberly. Then we get a backstage segment with it's an interview with Buff and Mean Gene, and Mean Gene says, "Buff Bagwell, tonight you look to become the WCW World Heavyweight Champion for the first time in your career, but you must go through 3 other men, and the first is someone you had recent problems with lately in DDP." He said, "Gene, I've tried and tried again to get DDP to understand that I've been telling the truth about the situation with Kimberly this entire time. I never touched her, nor do I want to. She can't handle the stuff, and truthfully, I'm a little sick of DDP not listening to words, so maybe he'll listen to Fist. When I'm through with him, I'm going to focus on the rest of the tourney and be the new WCW champion." That only got a 56. The match with DDP got a 71. So Bagwell defeated DDP in 1818 with a blockbuster. DDP was 73, Bagwell was 65. The creative finish was a success. Then in the second part of the world title tournament, Scott Steiner beat Booker T. Excuse me. After Stevie Ray turned on his brother. So Stevie Ray turned on Booker T, costing him his shot at the WCW title. The creative finish was a failure, so that sucked. That's why the rating was so low. But Booker was 69, Steiner was 76. Turn heel, complete success. And then we just get this big behemoth of a man, formerly known as Ahmed Johnson, running in and just beating the hell out of Booker T with his brother Stevie Ray. And then in another amazing match in the world title tournament, Chris Benoit defeated Shane Douglas in 5:54. Benoit with a 75, Douglas with a 68. Then we have a Scott Steiner entrance for his semifinal match against Buff. He grabs the mic after posing for a bit. Ric Flair, you old bastard, you thought you could stack the deck against Big Papa Pump, but you failed to realize that the deck is never stacked against Big Papa Pump because Big Papa Pump is the deck and he has enough to go all night long. Now this goes to all my freaks out here in Chicago. Big Papa Pump is your hookup. Holla if you hear me. Buff Bagwell, get your bitch ass out here so I can stretch you 6 ways a Sunday and go on to beat the hell out of Benoit to be the new WCW champion. And in a 59, they didn't click. The crowd liked it, but the wrestling sucked. Excuse me. Steiner beat Bagwell after Chris Kanyon interfered and gave Bagwell a Canyon cutter. And then we have a pre-match interview with Jeff Jarrett and Mean Gene, where Mean Gene says, Jeff Jarrett, you're about to go one-on-one with Eddie Guerrero in the United States Championship defense, but the odds certainly have to be in your favor after Eddie went through that matchup earlier tonight with Shane Douglas in the world title tournament. And Jarrett says, listen up, slap nuts. I don't give a damn if Eddie wrestled once, twice, or 100 times tonight. Tonight I show him, and I show that piece of crap Ric Flair, and I show the rest of the NWO why I am the chosen one. And we go to a ring for a 76, where Jeff Jarrett defeated Eddie Guerrero after putting his feet on the ropes for leverage. It got a 79. Excuse me. Wrestling rating, a 78 crowd rating for a 76 segment rating. Eddie with a 78, Jarrett with a 79. Eddie benefited from being the flavor of the month. What was the negative for the match? Jarrett fatigued and low locker room morale. And in the finals of the tag team title tournament, the Outsiders defeated the Filthy Animals in 6:28 when Kevin Nash pinned Billy Kidman with a jackknife. Nash and Hall had the best with 72 and 77. Kidman with a 47. Ray with a 69. The match probably would have done better if Scott Hall would have been in better form. Then we get a video package about the world title tournament and how we got to the finals. And then we get Bret Hart makes a surprise appearance. He's wearing the WCW World Championship. He shows up. He's going to hand it to the winner. The crowd did not expect him to be here, but he's here. He's got the gold, and he's going to present it to the winner of Chris Benoit and Scott Steiner. And then we get I put that in the wrong spot, actually, I think. No, it works that way because this is WCW. So, we get an interview with Chris Benoit and Mean Gene, who says, Chris Benoit, coming up next, you face Scott Steiner in the finals of the WCW World Heavyweight Championship Tournament. You went through the total package and you faced off against the franchise Shane Douglas to get to this moment. Perhaps the biggest moment of your career. Your thoughts, if you please. And Benoit just says, Gene, I won't lie when I say my body's tired. I'm exhausted and I'm bruised from head to toe. Total package, one of the biggest stars in this industry. Franchise Shane Douglas, a talented individual, put up one heck of a fight. And now there's only one man left in the quest for the dream to come true. Scott Steiner. I've been dealing with you and the NWO cronies for 2 months now. But now it's down to just you and me. One match decides the WCW World Heavyweight Champion. And I promise you this, Chicago, come hell or high water, I will leave everything in that ring to become the new World Champion. And then Arn Anderson walks into view, and Gene moves the mic towards him, and Arn's like, I've known you for a long time, Benoit. And if there's anyone that can carry this company into the future, it's you. I know you can do it, and there's only one way you can do it, and that's the Horseman way. Go out and show the world why Flair and myself chose you to be a horseman so long ago. And then Flair steps into the picture and he says, Chris, I know you can do it. Go show the world just who Chris Benoit truly is. And then the camera pans out and there's Eddie Guerrero. And Eddie leans in and just says, leave no doubt. This is your moment. This is what you've dreamed about your entire life. Go show the world what we already know. Chris Benoit is a world champion. And it only got a 69 rating, but I don't care. And in a 92 segment, 92, we get the match intro from Bruce Buffer. He's standing in the middle of the ring. The bell rings. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for the WCW sold out main event of the evening. 2 men enter. 1 man leaves, the heavyweight champion of the world. Are you ready? Chicago, Illinois, are you ready? Then for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world. Let's get ready to rumble. And Scott Steiner music hits first. Introducing first, this man is a genetic freak from the mean streets of Detroit, Michigan. He's a former tag team champion, former television champion, former United States champion, and looks to become a Grand Slam champion by becoming the new WCW champion. He is accompanied to the ring by Medeja, weighing in at 285 pounds. This is Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner. And then Steiner poses, does his signature stuff. He waits a little bit. There's a pause. Then Benoit's music hits. The place goes crazy. And introducing his opponent, coming down the aisle, this man is a wrestling machine, recognized as one of the greatest to ever step foot into the ring in this modern age. He looks to become world champion for the first time in his career from Atlanta, Georgia, by way of Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Weighing in at 225 pounds, this is the Crippler, the master of the crossface. This is the Rabid Wolverine, Chris Benoit. After Buffer finishes introductions, the 2 men stare down, the bell rings, and it's time for the WCW World Championship main event. I was hoping it would have got better than the 70, but damn. That's okay. And about that fantastic heat and good wrestling, Chris Benoit defeated Scott Steiner in 23-38 by submission with a crippler crossface. It was supposed to be a story-driven spectacle that was slowly built up through psychology and worked towards a dramatic conclusion, which isn't bad. 70, wrestling got a 71, crowd rating was 79, the second got a 70. Benoit was a 74, Steiner was 68. Steiner and Benoit have great chemistry, and it showed. This is amazing for future matches down the line. The creative finish was a success. What held it back? Fatigue, physical condition, lacking psychology. Steiner lacked psychology. Okay. And low locker room morale. And then to end the show, Chris Benoit's music hits. The fans are going crazy, and Tony says, "We have a new world's champion. Chris Benoit is the heavyweight champion." Mike Tenay says, "The dream has come true, Tony. Chris Benoit starting out in the dungeon in Calgary to Japan, a WCW world champion. The dream has become a reality." And Bobby Heenan says, "And look at who gets to cap it off. Bret Hart, the man who trained Benoit in the dungeon in Calgary with his father, Stu Hart. Bret Hart gets to hand the WCW World Championship to his protege, Chris Benoit. Dreams do come true." And then Bret gets in the ring. He has the World Championship in his hands. Benoit slowly rising to his feet. The tears are running. Bret walks over, hands him the WCW title as they embrace. Bret Hart raises Benoit's hand in the air. Benoit grabs the belt, breaks down in tears, falls to 2 knees before he begins to celebrate. And then the final sign-off as Benoit is celebrating is, "Chris Benoit is the WCW World Champion. WCW is heading into the future. What a night. We'll see you for Nitro. Chris Benoit is World's Champion." And then we'll turn Bret Hart babyface. And then we'll finish the show. It got an 81. I will take it. I will take an 81. I am not mad about that. We will take an 81. Would have gained, but we restricted in U.S. Canada. We restricted everywhere but Mexico. But we got an 81. That is awesome. I love that. Love that, love that, love that. Let's finish the show. Address the locker room. Chris Benoit, Scott Steiner, and we'll give it to Eddie. Great. Please, please, please. Financial report. Oh, you gotta be shitting me, dude. This pay-per-view deal is kicking my ass, man. 103,000 in pay-per-view revenue. I was expecting millions, which we probably made millions, but it just all went to fucking Time Warner. Ugh. I've got to figure out a better pay-per-view deal, because that should have been in the millions, not just 103,000. We should have been way out of debt. I mean, we made 144 grand, but it should have been way more than that. Popularity, we went up in Mid-South, Puerto Rico, and all of Mexico. Media scrum. You hired Sean Stasiak. Work your way up. Vampiro won the television title. Does this mean you're going to be getting behind strongly over the weeks and months? Big push. Hired Road Warrior Hulk. Very competitive. You have 2 workers, Savage and Elizabeth, who despise each other. How are you planning to address this? I'm going to sit down and work their issues out. It backfired and caused their relationship to get worse. Damn. Savage hates me. Billy Kidman's angry with life in WCW and is affecting locker room morale. I'll sit down and listen to his complaints. There seems to have been backlash over the awkward commentary pairing of Bobby Heenan and Tony Schiavone. What are your thoughts? I've got no issues with their commentary. Damn, no Benoit questions, no Steiner questions. That's crazy. That is really crazy. That is insane. I would have thought we would have got a Benoit question about his push. But that was a very good pay-per-view. Got an 81. So things are looking good so far as we move into the rest of January and into February as we head towards Super Brawl. Let's see. Last night sold out. The feedback has been excellent. They struck gold. Let's see. Nothing really newsworthy. Don Harris is back a day after. That's crazy. Everybody's asking for some rest. It got 217,000 buys. It got 0.54 buy rate, but it has 735,000 viewers. That's crazy. But it rose in importance. It's now an above average event, so that's good. So it rose in importance, but that buy rate, man, Jesus, that buy rate killed us. Let me look at this actually. 5% of the revenue is insane. 5%. That's crazy. That is freaking insane. Like, and that, yeah, this is ridiculous. Okay. Wow. Okay. We might have to do something about this, because everything else, I mean, I only got 5% of that one too, which, I mean, is ridiculous. But and then we got 30% of that. Get rid of, right? Yeah, no. We got, this is an internet subscription, not pay-per-view. That's why I didn't get no. Okay, I screwed up on that one. And then cable-based, and it was small in Japan. So okay, all right. My screw up. I'll have to fix this. But yeah, that was sold out, and then I will see you again for Nitro. So if you liked what you saw, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll appreciate any feedback you give me. But I will see you again for episode 3 of the WCW 2000 series with WCW Monday Nitro. Peace.